Hey guys, it's Elizabeth, and we're here with The Naked Truth, live from Huntington Beach, California, Iowa, and Indiana tonight. Everybody. I'm so excited to be back on here with Jennifer Bleacher. It's been a long time since we've done this together.
Yes, it has. Too long.
Too long, definitely.
And I am so excited to have our special guest with us, Pam O'Neill, also known as Candy Pants. She has a really interesting story, and we're really looking forward to sharing that with you tonight. But let's start with...
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question, Pam, real quick? So we had some questions come in on Facebook, and one was where Sleeve Rocker Pete asked, where did your name Candy Pants come from? Do you actually own Candy Pants?
I saw that. I do not, but I have lots of pants that say candy on them. My derby name, I played roller derby for 6 years. I just retired this past year, and my roller derby name was Thigh Candy. And and honestly, like,
how did that come about?
Well, you know, it's funny because I was really heavy at the time, and someone said something like, "Are you going to be eye candy?" And I was like, "Haha, more like thigh candy." Because I was like, you know, I was like 220 or 230 or something whenever I started derby, and then it was like a joke as I got thinner. They were like, "Well, you don't even have any thighs anymore," and I was like, "Well, yeah, but whatever." So the name, like I said, I've had that name for like 6 years. Well, everyone in derby calls me Candy, and so like 90% of my friends just call me Candy, and like people are like, "Your name's Pam?" I'm like, "Yep." So I have half the people I know call me Pam, and half the people I know call me Candy, and that's where Candy Pants came from.
Got it. So you guys, how has this like week before we have to go back to real life been for you?
Bad.
The week's been good. Today and thinking about tomorrow is bad.
It's been great. Like, vacation's been awesome. I work at a system control center, so we don't really have like holidays. You know what I mean? Like, I worked Christmas Day. We don't have like typical like weekends off. Like, that doesn't really. So the last couple of weeks when everyone else has kind of been chilling, it's basically been like a normal.
The regular thing
for me, yeah. So.
Yeah. And you work a lot.
I do. I work 48 hours a week most weeks, but you know, it's like I said, it's a system control center, so it's like people, they get hurt or on vacation, everyone has to cover that time, and so like I know in October I was working like 84 hours a week. I was basically working 12-hour days, 7 days a week for like a month. It was pretty horrific, yeah.
Oh gosh, that sounds awful.
How about you, Jennifer? You have to go back to work.
Yeah, I do. See, I'm lucky being a teacher. I've been off this whole last week. Yeah, I know. I couldn't have your schedule, Pam. That would be too hard.
Well, I have to say that I'm excited for the teachers because I can't wait to send my kids back to you guys.
Yeah. I actually had an awesome vacation or break. I redid my dining room. I made a video about that. That was really fun. But I spent, you know, I've been dealing with this whole like pain, like abdominal pain.
Are you feeling better?
I was feeling better. Actually, we had a follow-up with my surgeon's office on Thursday, you know, New Year's Eve, and I was like, oh, I'm all better. I'm feeling great. And they sent me home. And then Friday, I had an attack, and it like lasted until Saturday night. I finally had to have David take me to the ER. I'm like, I couldn't stop throwing up. It was awful. I had taken 2 hydrocodone, did nothing for me for the pain at all. When I got to the hospital, they gave me 2 rounds of morphine to finally like squash it. Yeah.
And did you drink or eat any of those things that you can't eat or drink beforehand? It just happened?
Just happened.
But they're giving you more tests, right?
Yeah, so they ran a whole bunch of tests last night. So like I feel kind of like, ugh, today, you know, I'm like not myself exactly. But so they ran a whole bunch of tests last night, and then everything came back like normal, but they couldn't do the gallbladder test. I think they had to be fasting for a certain number of hours before they could do that. So I'm going back on Tuesday for my do all the gallbladder testing. So everything else came back normal, like my pancreas, my liver, like they tested everything. Because I called my surgeon before I went to the ER, and he said, this isn't directly related to your surgery, meaning it's not like has something to do with your sleeve. It's something else in your body that's causing all this pain. So he said go to your local ER because he's about an hour from me. He's like, go to your local ER, tell them everything, and get started on finding out what's going on with you.
I have to tell you, in the video where you were sick and your son came in at the end and asked if you had a baby, that was so cute.
a character. Last night, so we were the only ones in the emergency room last night. And he was with us because our oldest was in D.C. So he had spent he was with us for like 6 hours in the emergency room, and we're the only ones there. They took him out in the ambulance. They let him sit on the guy's lap while he was driving the ambulance and turn on the lights and sirens.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, do you know how lucky you are that they let you do that? That's pretty awesome.
Well, I've spent my last week in denial about all the stuff I have to do come tomorrow, which, whatever.
Did you take the whole week off, Elizabeth?
I mean, I had some things I had to do, but for the most part, I mean, I work for myself, and the week before the end of the year, because I'm a nonprofit consultant, a fundraiser, and so that's a really busy year. So like the week before Christmas, I was really busy, but it seems like, things are pretty slow. I had to do a few things, but pretty much I was just mellow. And I was telling Jennifer before we came on, I have this really dysfunctional Southern California family where it's like all steps and halves and ex-wives and ex-husbands and blah. So we're having our 47th Christmas celebration tonight at my house, and I had totally forgotten about the Naked Truth until I posted about it yesterday, and I was like, holy shit, I told everybody to be here at 5. That's probably not a good idea.
No.
So people may be walking in. I told them to come at 6:15, but people may be walking in at the end. I told them to be quiet. So.
They can just wave.
Yeah, they can wave. So. Anyway, we had a lot of community celebrations. There are a lot of
and I was keeping a list this week, so I'll go through that first, and then I'll hit up what you guys put on Facebook. Okay. But so for Surgiversary on my list, I have Rain Hampton. She had her 11-year Surgiversary this week. I think that's so cool. Michael May, 3 years. I celebrated my 2-year Surgiversary this week, along with Jeffrey Hartbridge. He's my twin, my surgery twin. So he's also celebrating 2 years. Then several people hit goal this week. Cassie Michalski, she lost 164 pounds, and that was her goal to lose this year, so she accomplished that goal. Ranga VSG hit her goal weight, and Dennis Vinay hit his goal weight as well. 100 pounds lost, Amy Blankenship. For Wonderland, Tessa Rose got to Wonderland. And Jenny Slims Down had her surgery approved this week. So that's everything that I had on my list that I saw, but there's more.
There's some more on my Facebook page, I think.
Yeah.
Not the Naked Truth. Yeah.
The one you tagged me on, yeah. So there's Brooke James, R&Y for me on YouTube. She hit 60 pounds lost January 1st, and her surgery was 10/2/2015. Kim Buchanan she's going back to work. Her first day of work tomorrow since having surgery. Gretchen VSG for me talked about Chandra, who is back to me on YouTube, just celebrated her 1-year Surgiversary this week. She said we should also celebrate that we all made it through the holidays relatively unscathed. Ava Shrinking VSG said she's calling goal at 18 months, out at 141 pounds. Let's see,
I think she had set her original goal at 135, but decided to go
a little further,
which is awesome.
Awesome. Congratulations, Ava. She's looking really great, too. Kim can do it celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday, Kim. I can't wait to see her. She's coming to your birthday, right, in Chicago?
Yeah, are you coming?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
I can't wait to see her. Katie Cox, let's see, is now wearing size 16. Woohoo, that's my size. Congratulations, Katie.
That was a very exciting day for me.
Shannon VSG is down 100 pounds. Wow. Didn't she just have surgery?
She is gorgeous.
Yeah, and she's gorgeous. Yeah. Nirvana Amber Lee, her channel has hit 1,500 subscribers. Congratulations. Stacy Stewart Anders. Let's see. She posted a picture on the Facebook page of she's wearing her jeans and she's in one leg. I love those pictures. Just one leg of her old jeans. That's definitely a huge NSV. So congratulations, everybody. I'm so excited for you.
Now, did you say, I may not have been listening, but did you say Courtney, VSG Redesigned Me? It's her 1-year Surgiversary.
Oh, no, I missed that one. Congratulations, Courtney. Happy Surgiversary.
So, awesome. Great. So now maybe we'll jump in and talk to Pam.
Yeah, Pam, can you give us some of the just the basics of your like what surgery you had, where your starting weight was, all that kind of stuff?
My starting weight was, oh my God, it's been so long since I've done all these numbers. I probably should have wrote them down. It was 248 pounds, I believe. My surgery was March 25th, 2014. So I'll be 2 years out this year. A
month apart.
Right, yeah.
Younger than me.
Close, yeah. I had the VSG, and my low weight was 158, and I have maintained 158 until about a month and a half ago. Well, I was between like 158, 162 is kind of where I've stayed. I hit goal in January, so 9-10 months out, pretty early. And then I weighed myself this morning, and I'm 172. I feel like we need to talk about that at some point in time, but right now maybe not. So.
Let's just not talk about that.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'6½".
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you look perfectly proportional and fabulous. I saw you in person in Raleigh, and you look just amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what's your kind of story around weight? Were you overweight as a child? Did you gain weight later on?
No, I've been heavy always, as long as I can ever remember. It's funny because my kids are in 5th grade this year, and I specifically remember when I was in 4th grade, the teacher had all of the entire class come outside, and we didn't know what we were coming outside the classroom for, but she told us all to get into a line. And I realized once I got into line that the nurse was weighing us. And that's how they did it back then, because no one cared if you were fat or not back then. So
I remember that day.
So they would line us up, and I was like, and I remember just like absolute fear-stricken panic, and I was like, because I was like in the middle of the line, and I was like, dear God, everyone's gonna know what I weigh, And so I was like trying to like mosey on back, like, oh hi, how are you? Scoot back in line. And I got like 3/4 of the way back, and a teacher busted me and was like, Pam, stop moving in the line, And I will never forget, I was 140 pounds, and I was the heaviest girl in the class that year. And so now I'm like looking back, I'm like, my kids, my daughter's like 115 or something, and she's really one of the biggest kids in her class too, built just like me, God love her. But I was heavy, always been heavy, always. Other than like the few times that I've lost weight but have never maintained it for more than just a few months, I've always been heavy, yeah.
So I got a couple of texts, because usually I give out my cell phone number for people to text questions, which you can, or you can, I think Jennifer has the live questions up, but you can also text me at 714-625-5663. And Gretchen VSG is watching, and then Amy gets a VSG just texted me that she's been in Candy's pants. And she sent me a picture of, and she says, now it's my turn to get in her pants, because she's bringing me all these size 10 jeans that she's grown out of when she comes to visit me in a week and a half. So Amy's watching too.
That's awesome.
And I do have the live Q&A up, and right now watching we have Al VSG11B, Kim Can Do It, and Scotty RNY is watching. So
Kim, tell us, are you coming to my birthday? So post that wherever Jennifer can see it. I can't see it. So Pam, did your family try to control your weight at all, or they were?
No, I mean, you gotta remember, I come from like a family of like loggers, so we're all like big.
Loggers or loggers?
Loggers, like we cut trees down, like big, stocky built people, you know what I mean? Like, my dad was big, like, and nobody was, like, ever obese. They're just big people. So, like, it was never like, oh, you need to lose weight, because no one in the family, we had, the one skinny aunt, and everyone, like, made fun of her because she was skinny. You're like, what's wrong with you? You're skinny. You know? So, like, they never tried to control it. Like, I didn't, nutrition or calories in or none of that ever came into play ever as a child. I literally was oblivious to any of it. Right. I just liked to eat. That's what I did.
I hear you.
And we know that one of the ways that you tried to lose weight was by going on The Biggest Loser. Can you tell us more about that experience?
I did. And I did lose weight on The Biggest Loser. I started The Biggest Loser at 251 pounds. And I ended the finale at 179 pounds. And at that point, that was the smallest I had ever been as an adult ever. Now, mind you, this was 10 years ago. I was on like season 3, so you're looking at 2006 is when I was on the show.
I need to go back and watch that. It is on Hulu if people want to watch it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think you may have to have Hulu Plus, but it is on Hulu. And I meant to watch it before you were on the show, but I just didn't have time.
Yeah, so it was forever ago. I was quite a bit younger. I was 25 when I was on the show. And I remember I did really well physically in that, but as far as weight loss, I didn't lose. I never did lose as much as anybody else. Like at 179 pounds, I was still one of the bigger girls that ended the finale. So yeah, and I lost that weight, but did not keep it off. Our finale was December 18th that year, and by like January 1, I had gained like 15 pounds or something. So like in a couple of weeks, yeah, I never really maintained that weight at any point. I just like went up slowly, like every few weeks. It'd be like a few pounds, and yeah.
It doesn't seem like many people do. Whenever they do, I don't watch it anymore because I can't stand it because it so annoys me. But occasionally I'll watch the finale and you'll see the people from past seasons, and very few of them have kept that weight.
No, unfortunately not. It's just because it is really
artificial environment.
Right, exactly, and it's really extreme, and they really don't, and this could have changed since I was on there, but at the time, they never really got into any kind of emotional reasoning for eating. It was like, if you just work out and you eat these things, then you'll lose weight. Well, that's great, but obviously you were eating those things for a reason, so, like, why were you eating those things? They never got into the emotional end of it,
right.
And for most people, if you're 250, 300, 400, 500 pound woman or man, there's probably some emotional issues behind that. You know what I mean? That go beyond you just liking food.
Right. So how old were you when you were on that show?
25.
25?
Yep.
Now, I know I saw you at OH. You were like one of the featured keynote speakers at OH, and you were awesome in the fireside chat. And one of the things that you talked about that I thought was really interesting was how that experience and going to California and doing that show really opened you up to a whole different kind of world. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, man. Whenever I went to The Biggest Loser, I was 25. I had married my high school sweetheart, I guess. I mean, we had been dating since, like, senior prom. Married him right out of high school. Had a couple of kids. And I was 25 whenever I left for the show. So went to the show and realized that there was basically a whole other world out there. Now, mind you, I grew up in Indiana, real small town, super rural area, had only ever been around certain types of people, mostly middle-class white Americans. That was basically it. Not a lot of diversity in cultural orientation, ethnicity, there just wasn't. You know what I mean? Everyone pretty much was raised the same, grew up the same, you married the people you went to high school with, you had kids, and yada, 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 yada. So when I went to California, I was introduced to a lot of different people that I really enjoyed spending time with, that I didn't think if I had been back home I would have been like, oh no, like they're weird, or there's something wrong with them, or they're different. And I feel like if you don't understand the difference, it turns into fear, and then you kind of, shy away from those people. And in California, you can't really do that because I was the different one. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
They're like, you're what? You're 25 and you have 2 kids. Like, you're a baby. And I remember thinking, I'm like the oldest person in my family to get pregnant. I don't know what you people are talking about. So yeah, it definitely opened my eyes up to a whole new world. But yeah.
And so how was that coming back home?
Coming back home was difficult because I wanted something different. I wanted something new, and I didn't know how to get it. You know what I mean? I had already kind of carved my niche out in this life here. And when I went to California and came back, I was expected to kind of go back into that same place that I had carved out, and I wanted new places. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Like, I wanted to be different. I wanted to change at that point, and no one else really wanted me to. They wanted to keep me where I was, and it was a huge power struggle with friends and family, and at the time my husband. And I ended up joining roller derby because I was like, I need something that's mine. I need it.
You didn't do that until after you came back from The Biggest Loser?
Right, yeah. I didn't join roller derby until after I came back. As a matter of fact, it was like 4 years later. So we're talking like 4 years I kind of struggled with this, this world that, I was in and had been in and just was really uncomfortable in it at the time. But I joined roller derby, like I said, mostly just to, have something that was mine that, challenged me. I love competition in any form, but mostly in physical form, and I was like, well, heck, what's better than roller derby than that, and I couldn't skate for the life of me, so it was like a huge challenge. As a matter of fact, my sister laughed at me when I told her. I was like, I'm going to join roller derby. She's like, you can't even skate. I'm like, I don't know. Figure it out. I don't know. And that is really what opened my eyes to the roller derby community is extremely inclusive, meaning every walk of life join, and every walk of life is accepted, just wholly, unconditionally. And first of all, it was a little bit of shell shock. Still, even after being in California, it was still shell shock that there were this many different people this close to my hometown. But it also helped me realize that all the weird things that I say weird, all the different things that I had felt for all these years prior, just things that I kind of kept hidden, thoughts or opinions about different things that didn't really fit into my suburban housewife role. Mm-hmm. I kind of went there and was like, holy shit, there's people just like me. They're just like me. They are thinking the same things and they do the same things, and it was kind of like, oh wow, I found my people, when you find your people, you know what that's like.
It's really hard to think of you as suburban housewife.
Yeah.
Do you have pictures from that you can post on Facebook that we can?
I totally do, yeah. It's comical to look back at. Well, as a matter of fact, if you watch The Biggest Loser, you'll see it.
Well, I will definitely. I'm going to go back over the next week and watch your season of The Biggest Loser. Season 3, guys, it's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's kind of a chuckle.
Did you ever consider leaving Indiana and moving somewhere else?
Mm-mm. No. I mean, I had 2 kids, you know what I mean? And even after I got divorced, I mean, we split custody, and the kids have a really great involved dad, and that he spends a lot of time with them, and I would never think about, ever leaving the state. So now, has that not been talked about, after my kids go off to college? Absolutely. Yeah. But it's never even crossed my mind. Not because I have ties to Indiana per se, but because I have kids, and I had kids when I was 22, so by the time I was even
so that just means you'll be really young when they're ready to leave.
I know, right?
It's awesome.
Exactly.
So Elizabeth, to answer your question earlier, Kim Can Do It is coming to Chicago to help celebrate your birthday. Yeah, so excited. I love her. She's awesome. You've met her, right?
I have not met her.
Oh, she's amazing. You'll love her. She's awesome.
Hey, Pam, you should come to Chicago. You're really close.
Yeah.
I am coming to Chicago.
Oh, you are? Oh, that's right, you are.
I am. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be awesome.
It'll be so much fun. And I'll actually start planning some things for it soon. So we know what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make an announcement. This is a ways away, but I was thinking about how we're celebrating your 50th birthday in Chicago, and that's so awesome. And I'm turning 40 in a year and a half, and I decided I'm going to throw a big party in Vegas. So everybody in the community is going to be invited to Vegas to celebrate my 40th birthday party. So I have a year and a half to save up and prepare.
What month is your birthday?
In July.
Oh, it's really hot there then, but awesome. That's so close for me.
Yeah. So everyone put that on your calendar, July 2017, Vegas.
I will be there.
That sounds awesome.
You should totally come, Candy. It'll be awesome. I lived there for 4 years. I loved it.
You lived in Vegas?
Love Vegas. Yeah, I lived in LA too. Did you know that?
I knew you lived in LA, but I didn't know you lived in Vegas. Yeah.
So that's why I asked when I was asking Candy about if she ever wanted to move. I feel like we moved back to Iowa 7 years ago, and I'm so itching to get back out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
So Okay, so totally sidetracked there. Sorry.
Oh, I'm excited. Party in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of go from Biggest Loser? How many years was it between when you were Biggest Loser to weight loss surgery, and kind of what was that process?
Oh. Okay, so Biggest Loser was 2006. And then
That's a long time.
it was a very, very long time. And then I had my surgery 2014, so you're looking at, 8 years or something. Honestly, I just finally got to the point where, like, I played roller derby, and my weight just fluctuated. It always fluctuated between like 250 and 220. I kind of like went back and forth in that 30-pound range, but I never really got to where I wanted to be. I had a lot of knee issues. I had a couple of knee surgeries, and I finally just got to the point where I was like, man, I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing, but what I'm doing isn't working. And I started doing some research on weight loss surgery. As a matter of fact, I think I want to say that Rasha, because she was on The Biggest Loser, I want to say that it was right.
It was after you, right?
She was. That's a great question. No, she was before me.
Oh, wow.
Before me, because she was a special edition, so she wasn't actually a full season. She was
like the couple. Wasn't she like a couple's one?
Yeah, right. Because she was
with her husband.
Because she was there with her husband too, right? Now she's married to her wife, and yeah.
Is that like the Biggest Loser thing? But okay.
I know. So she, I actually saw that she had surgery, and I was like, wow, like and I don't know if it like made it more personal for me because I knew her personally, and she was really great about just being really open and honest about her surgery and what it entailed, and it was after I saw that she had surgery that I started kind of doing research on it, and I was like, ooh, well, and it wasn't honestly anything I had ever considered before. I thought it was the easy way out. One, wrong.
Wrong.
Wrong, big time wrong. I just thought that, I don't know, it didn't feel like it was for me. You know what I mean? I don't know that I would have ever had surgery before I did, because I wasn't emotionally ready to do that, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that it kind of came at the tail end of me figuring out who I was and what I wanted to do in life, and really being okay with who I was as a person before I could ever even consider something as extreme as that. I can't even imagine having weight loss surgery, going through all the emotional baggage that I went through before. Oh my God. It would have been really horrific, I'm sure.
Yeah. Did you have any fears going into surgery? No?
No, honestly, it was like I did whenever they called me and announced and told me what my surgery date was. Then all of a sudden I was like panic, like, oh my God, oh, am I doing the right thing? Oh my gosh, this is so close, and then I was kind of freaking out about it. But really, I was never worried about surgery. Only worried that it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? I was never worried about the health issues. Like I was never worried about surgery. Now, mind you, I've had I don't know how umpteenth knee surgeries. I've had all kinds of different surgeries. I've had plastic surgery. I've had, surgery in itself did not bother me. It was more like, what if I have this and it doesn't work? And I felt like...
We all think that, because I thought that. I thought it was going to work for everybody else, but not for me.
Except for you. Yeah. Nothing else would work. So like, nothing else would work. I've been on a national television show for fat people, and that didn't work. So what's that?
Why would that?
Right. Everyone else lost weight on The Biggest Loser. Like, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? So like, it was like one of those things. Like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm still really skeptical because I can't imagine this actually working for me.
Did you have a big pre-op process, or no? It was pretty quick.
It was, gosh, what was my... Yeah, 6 months. It was 6 months. I had to go through the whole rigmarole of, like, going to the doctor and getting my weight and yada, yada, yada. And that was it. But my BMI was where it needed to be. I didn't actually have any comorbidities. And then I only had to do, like, a 2-day liquid diet or something beforehand.
I didn't have to do a liquid diet either. I mean, just, like, the day before you're having anesthesia.
Right. Yeah, nothing crazy.
So you were pretty young. So how old were you? Like 32, 33 when you had surgery?
I just turned 35 last Monday before.
So like 33 when you...
Oh, yes. When I had surgery, yeah, I was 33. Yes.
Yeah, but you were pretty young, so I guess asking if you wish you'd had it earlier in life is not really relevant. Because
well, I mean, I do.
Do you?
I totally do, yeah. But like I said, I was, after I lost weight with The Biggest Loser, I came home. So you're on the ranch for like however many months. I was on the ranch for like almost 3 months, and then you come home for like 9 months or something before the finale. And I talked about this a little bit at OH, like I was crazy. I was certifiably crazy. I was emotional. I was crying, like all the time for no reason. I was angry. I've never been so angry in my life. And now looking back, I was trying to deal with a lot of things emotionally, but I wasn't dealing with anything emotionally. I just thought, I have to eat this way, and I have to do this, and I have to eat this way, and I have to do this. And emotionally, I was a crazy, psychotic basket case. Yeah, it was really horrific. So looking back now, that's why I said I couldn't have ever had surgery, I don't think, without like having myself whole and sane and where I needed to be before I could have had that surgery, or it would have been The Biggest Loser all over again. I fully believe that. I fully believe I would not have been as successful as I am now had I had it any earlier in life.
Yeah, me too. I mean, totally. I mean, I'm way older than you, but if I wouldn't have had psychoanalysis for a year, 4 days a week,
right,
I would have never even made that phone call to do it because I just wasn't. As much as I wish maybe I had done it earlier, I mean, everything happens in the right.
Agreed. Exactly.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we go back for a minute? You mentioned that you had plastic surgery. What did you have done?
I had an extended tummy tuck done like 8 months after The Biggest Loser finale.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
that's not true. I had it 11 months after The Biggest Loser finale. So, and I had a lot of excess skin. Well, I mean, we all have a lot of excess skin, right? It's funny because like when I'm talking to people who haven't had weight loss surgery, and I'm talking to them, they're like, "Oh my gosh!" But when I talk to like weight loss surgery patients, they're like, "Oh yeah, I know, I totally get it."
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did an extended tummy tuck. And it was funny because even as I gained weight, I never, ever had a stomach again. Like, I never had...
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I got all the way back up to the same weight that I was before I ever lost any weight, and I never had any, like, rolls or, like... my stomach was, like, totally flat. It was crazy.
So what was that experience like? I mean, like the recovery and stuff?
It was extreme. So the extended tummy tuck, goes all the way around. They lift up your inner thighs and do all the stomach. They removed 9 pounds of skin. I ended up not having liposuction. It's funny because I heard someone the other day say, well, almost everyone has liposuction, but he specifically was like, you don't need liposuction because if you remember at the time I was working out, 10, 12, 15 hours a week. So I was really muscular, and so I didn't have liposuction. Now I kind of wish that I had because there were places where I'm like, oh man, that would have been nice to get rid of. But it was horrific. I would do it all over again. It was worth every bit of the pain. But I've had several surgeries, and that was hands down the worst one. The recovery was really long.
It went all the way around your body, like across your back too?
360 or like not all the way?
No, all the way. It touches. It actually touches, yeah, on the back. So,
like, where did you lay? Because you couldn't lay forward or what'd you do?
Yeah, right in a recliner.
Yeah. You were wrapped. I mean, I was wrapped for I don't even know how many weeks. But you always had like your stomach binder on, so your skin was never like laying on anything for like a month or so. But that's the thing too. Like I didn't work out for I didn't do anything for like 6 to 8 weeks or something. It was really long.
I mean, that's honestly what really scares me about plastics is I have never in my life worked out like I do now. And I'm afraid if I have 2 months without doing that it's going to be really hard to get back into it.
Yeah, well, I can't remember now. It was a long time ago. It was 2007 when I had my plastics.
Your kitty's so cute.
I want to say it was like 8 weeks before I could like draw, and I was running like 4 miles a day. I mean, I was working out all the time, and they took off 9 pounds of skin. Well, when I went back in at that like 8-week follow-up or whatever it was, I was like 6 pounds heavier than what I was before I had surgery. So I gained the 10 pounds of skin they removed, plus like another. I gained almost
all of the water retention.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And I don't know if you guys don't know, Watch Patty Mount had her plastics like the first week of December, and she just did another video last night talking about that and you know, like the water retention and things like that. So if you guys want to check out her videos, I'll put it in the link afterwards.
She had a couple of surgeries at one time, didn't she?
She had her stomach done and her breast done, and then they did a little bit of liposuction as well at the same time.
Good for her. That's awesome.
Yeah. And she looks fucking amazing.
Oh,
Awesome.
Looked amazing beforehand, but
Yeah.
looks even more amazing. So, do you have any thoughts of other plastic surgery, or you're all good?
You know what? Honestly, I kind of went back and forth. I would love to have my thighs done. I would love to have my arms done.
It's a lot. I just find it tough when you work out a lot and you know that underneath that skin you would look really awesome.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, oh my gosh, my arms would be so ripped, and my arms are pretty bad. But I don't know. I don't know if it means that much to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it, like, when I had my stomach done, it was like a daily thought in my head, and it was like I had to wear Spanx to work out in it because it hurt and it was painful, and there was a lot of issues that went around that. This is more just vanity. Like, I hate the way my arms look. I hate the way that my legs look, you know. So I probably will never have plastics, but I would like to. I've thought about it.
Yeah. So, what do you feel like your biggest struggle has been post-op?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I think just honestly, okay, let me go over this real quick. Up until like October of this year, I probably would have said like, I don't really know, like, because.
Me too.
Right? I mean, I feel like this has not been that difficult for me. In comparison, emotionally, this is way easier than what The Biggest Loser was. This was way easier than me coming out. This was way easier than me, like, completely changing my life. I feel like I just had worked through so many things before I got to this point that this didn't feel as hard, even though it was extremely difficult. It just, in comparison, maybe not as much. But man, I hurt my knee in November. Now, mind you, I've had 3 knee surgeries on my left knee. I've had my ACL repaired twice, and I've had my meniscus torn, and they had to go in and just do that orthoscopically. But I hurt my knee, and I haven't had any knee issues since I had surgery and since I lost weight. And even like my arthritis in my knees has really felt a lot better. I've not really had any issues. And I hurt my knee the week before Thanksgiving, and basically put me down for the count. And I got some like crappy news from the knee doctor about this and that and yada yada yada. But so I think at this point, just over the last month or so, dealing with the emotional part of not being able to work out has been really hard. Has been really hard for me because I kind of sunk into this like.
So you can't work out at all right now?
I can now. It's been 30 days, so I can now. And I have worked out a couple of times, but it was like one of those things where like I went to the gym, my trainer had to modify everything for me, and then I like almost cried because it was so frustrating, and it was like. I think for me, like I said, it's just a mental thing right now that I'm kind of working through and figuring out how to get through it. But like literally the day before I had hurt my knee, I had signed up for 2 CrossFit competitions, and I was like, all right, like 2016, I'm going to hit this hard. Like, I'm done with Derby. I'm going to focus on CrossFit. And I like really was gung-ho about like, I'm going to start competing on my level, not on like our gym's level is pretty high, but just like for me, I'm going to start doing these competitions, and I really want to get stronger, and I had like set up a bunch of goals for 2016, and then like the next day I go to the gym, and I fuck my knee up, and I was like, oh. So it was like, I don't know if it was like just me blowing up this big balloon and someone like popping it, and now I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do with this balloon? This sucks, you know? That's kind of where I'm at right now. And the eating, you know, other times whenever I've not been able to work out or I've not worked out as much, I've really kind of watched what I've eaten, and I've been okay. And this time I've just been like, oh, I'm sad. I'm going to eat. It's the holidays. I'm going to eat. It's, you know,
right.
Just working through it emotionally.
To kind of piggyback on that, Scotty RNY is asking if there was ever a time that you felt like having the surgery was the wrong decision.
No, not once. I've never, in the beginning, I had my surgery in March, and then, you know, Easter was like a couple of weeks later or something. And at the time, they were cooking Easter dinner here in my kitchen, and I remember being back in the bedroom, like, crying, because I was like, I just want to eat. Oh! You know, like, 2 weeks out, you're not eating anything at all. You try to eat something, you can't really eat anything. And that was probably one of the worst parts for me, but honestly, beyond that, I've never thought, oh, God, I wish I didn't do this. Not one time. Totally.
Awesome. And James Haney wants to know, which one tastes shittier? Quest bars or Isopuke?
Ugh, Isopuke. Ugh. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can still stomach a Quest bar every now and then if I'm really in the mood for something, but like I've never been able to do Isopure or anything.
Isopure is awful.
I can't do either one. I don't like either one.
I can only do one flavor of Quest bars, which is the apple pie.
Oh, I like the chocolate chip one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a texture thing for me. It's like Laffy Taffy texture.
It is like that. Yeah. It's very dense.
Yeah.
So how did you like kind of go back into exercise after weight loss surgery, and what did you do?
Really fast. I was like 2 weeks after surgery. I went back to playing derby, but I basically took some time out of derby to have my surgery, and so I had, you know, we were starting our season, and like we were in the middle of our season when I had the surgery, because I had it at the end of March, and our season started at the beginning of March. So I had actually planned it, so I was only going to have to miss like one game before I could play again. So that's what I did. I was out for 2 weeks, and then I went back in and started skating, and we skate 9 hours a week. So the problem that I ran into when I started was not having enough energy, not physically being able to just like, when we had 2 or 3 hour practices, not having enough food in my system to be able to get through that long of a workout.
So, and I actually think we had a question on Facebook about that. Amy Nunez from Australia was asking, how did you deal with that?
Yes. Okay, good. That's a good question. And then also water, too, was an issue, because that early out I couldn't drink water. And I used to bring like big, like literally gallon jugs to practice, and I would drink an entire gallon jug of water in a 3 hour practice. I went from that to drinking like a 16-ounce bottle of water, and like everyone was like, what happened to your water jug? You know, mind you, I've been skating with these girls for 4 or 5 years, so they all knew I drink a gallon of water every practice. And so they were like, are you sick? I'm like, no, I'm just trying to cut out some water. Yeah. What I ended up finding was that, one, I can't go 3 hours without eating.
Yeah, sure, particularly that early on, yeah.
A 3 hour practice was too long for me to not eat. Even if I ate right before I went to practice, I had to eat something during practice at some point. So what I would do is I would eat like cheese and turkey before practice. Now, that early on, I was still eating like refried beans. You know, 2 weeks in, I was still eating like refried beans and whatever. But later on, I would eat cheese and turkey before practice, so I had some protein, a little bit of substance. And then and halfway through practice, I would eat one of the Lara bars, because it's got tons of carbs in it. And that would usually last me. If I ate that like an hour, hour and a half in, I'd be okay until after practice. And I would eat almost immediately after. But it was just too long. It was too long to go.
Yeah, I remember, like, I started working out 6 weeks out, and I hadn't, done anything ahead of time, really, and I was working with a personal trainer, and, I mean, I couldn't eat before I went, and I would get so nauseous and sick.
Dizzy. I would get dizzy, really dizzy.
Yeah, really dizzy. There was one day I remember, I'm like, okay, this is the biggest loser moment. I'm going to be, like, puking in the bushes right now.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, I just found, and then I had to change everything I ate again when I started CrossFit. And I didn't start CrossFit until May, June, July, August, September. 6 months after I had surgery, I started CrossFit. And when I started CrossFit, I totally changed how I ate again, because I was lifting weights and I was building so much muscle that I found that I was hungry literally all the time.
Yeah.
So
I look at I'm starving.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was ridiculous. And I was just like, I can't eat, because everyone was like, oh, eat 3 times a day and 2 snacks. And I was eating every like 2 or 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And it was fine, but that was the only way to like not just be like starving to death all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shauna Elliott is watching. She sent me a PM to let us know that she's watching and that she is coming to Chicago. She's planning on coming to Chicago. And she also wants to come to Vegas, too. So I hope you can make it, Shauna. That would be awesome. Excuse me. PM, what have been some of the most powerful moments for you post-surgery? And what do you consider to be your biggest accomplishment?
Oh, gosh, those are really good questions. I think that my biggest accomplishment is just feeling or physically being as strong as I feel and vice versa, if that makes sense. I always felt like an athlete, but you couldn't ever I was never looked at as an athlete, and I couldn't say, oh yeah, I'm an athlete. I was 250 pounds, and I felt like me being like, I work out all the time, you kind of get judged, you know what I mean? And luckily there's like a movement going on that you don't have to be 130 pounds and have a 6-pack in order to be an athlete, you know what I mean? That's a thing now, which is freaking awesome. But I think for me, it was one of the first times that I have been able to feel like an athlete and look like an athlete in my own right, which was really awesome for me.
That is really powerful, because I feel like that, because I mean, you were before an athlete a little bit. I wasn't. I mean, I laid on the couch for like years, and watched The Biggest Loser while eating ice cream. But I feel like, because I've worked with a personal trainer 6 weeks, from 6 weeks post-op, now continuing, that is as important, and that strength and fitness that I've gained is as important to me as surgery.
It really is, yeah.
And I discovered like how competitive and how that strength just makes such a difference in your life.
Yeah, it really. I talked about this a little bit at OH, but that was one of the things that The Biggest Loser really gave me. That the one thing I took away from there is that your body will always go only as far as your mind goes, So it allowed me to realize, like, my body, I can push my body a lot harder than what I think I can. You know what I mean? I can push my body way further than what, it's like you get to this point where you're like, oh, it's really hard, I'm going to stop now. And you can never break that barrier. You never get to see the other side. And once you realize that your body can break that barrier, then you just keep going up and up and up, and it's like you just keep improving, you keep getting stronger, and you keep feeling better, and you keep, you add that more confidence, and it just has transpired into every other part of my life. Work, kids, family, relationships, like shit gets hard sometimes, but you keep going, and once you break that plane of suckiness, then you get to see what's at the next level.
And it's just amazing, even though we all know surgery isn't the easy way out, surgery is the easier way out than doing it without surgery.
Right.
Honestly, for sure. But that I can do these things fitness-wise. Every time I just run fast and do the basketball court, and I'm not even out of breath when I come back. It's like, what the hell?
Right. Someone asked me that, like, one day at work, because I always take the stairs. I never, ever take the elevator, even, like, really when my knee was hurt or anything. And somebody's like, why do you always run up the stairs? I'm like, because I can.
Exactly.
Because I can, man. Like, if you've been carrying around 250 pounds or 400 pounds your whole life, and then all of a sudden now you don't have that anymore, like, you do feel like, my God, I can do anything. Like, I can do everything. And so, like, I'll just jump and run and skip and play and climb, and because I fucking can. Like, it's awesome.
Oh, freeing.
Yeah.
I walk to the beach. I think New Year's morning I walk all the time. It's like 1.5 miles here, but it's not a workout. It's like a leisurely walk. Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, look, let me just run up and down the stairs up here like 6 times and not even be out of breath.
Right, because I can.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, of course, I always have too many questions than we have time for, and probably people are going to be walking in here in like 10 or 15 minutes. But so we usually ask, how did weight loss impact your relationships? But I think maybe your relationships were impacted pre-weight loss.
Right. Yeah, they were. You mean about me coming out, or did you just
about you being married and the suburban housewife, and then now you're married to a woman?
Right. Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, none of that really had any, I say none of that had to do with my weight loss. It had a lot to do with my weight gain. I mean, I think for a lot of years I was really unhappy and couldn't figure out, like, what is this missing piece? You know what I mean? Like, I have a great job, I have great kids, I have a nice home, I have, like, a nice husband who's a good guy, he's not mean or doesn't cheat on me or whatever, like, why am I so damn unhappy? Like, and it wasn't until I fell in love with a woman that I was like, whoa, and it was like every piece of the puzzle fit together, you know what I mean? It's like your whole life, like, I just felt like, I'm a crappy wife and I'm a crappy mom and, like, I can't get this right. Like, why is this so hard for me? Because all these other women make it look so easy, and it's like constantly trying to fit, a circle peg into a square hole, and it's like it won't go and you can't figure it out. And then it's like one day you're like, oh, hey, there's the circle and there's the circle peg, and then it, like, fits, and that's it. And that's, like, how that happened. I mean, it just, I am an emotional eater, so years and years and years of, like, feeling really shitty about myself, you know what I mean? Just feeling like I wasn't ever good enough, like I was never going to achieve what I needed to achieve in life. Like, it sucked. It was the worst feeling. And then it was like one day I was like, oh, oh, all right, okay, I'm with you now. I got it. And then that was actually almost worse, because then it was like, oh shit,
what do I do?
I'm gay. Yeah, and I've told this story before where, like, I sat on my stairs in the garage and I cried and I cried and I cried the first time I realized, like, this is not a phase, like, this is not a thing, this is it, like,
this was before you obviously got divorced, right?
Yeah, this is before I got divorced, right, this is before I got divorced, and I cried and cried and cried and thought, oh my God, like, now what? Now, remember, I'm from a super conservative family, super right-wing conservatives, and I was just, like, from a small rural town in Indiana. You don't just come out, it's and yeah, it was pretty terrible. And then for the next couple of years, I spent that time coming out and getting divorced, and telling my husband that I was gay and telling my kids that I was gay, and it was a long road and a lot of emotional eating. And that's actually, I think I was, like, more like around 210 when I realized that, and I was 250 whenever I had surgery. So I spent a couple of years eating my emotions because I had no other way to deal with them, and there were so many, you know what I mean? Like, not only going through a divorce, but now you're dealing with, like, oh, now I'm coming out to my family, now I'm coming out to my friends, now I'm coming out to my coworkers who I've worked with for 10 years who also work in a super conservative, like, I mean, the whole ordeal was extremely difficult. But once I got through all that, that was kind of like, that was my hard part. That was like the part of the workout where you want to quit because your lungs are burning and everything feels weak and you want to die. Like, that was my difficult point. And then it was like, once I got past that, I was like, oh, hey, there's this awesome fucking life on the other side where I get to be anything I want to be and do anything I want to do, and have the power to change everything around me if I so desire. I can teach my kids all of these things, and it was just like, it was definitely full circle when I finally got there.
Yeah, for sure. So,
and you got married in October. Congratulations.
In October.
Yes.
That is so exciting. And Sherry had a really great question. Sherry Presley. Mm-hmm. She wants to know how married life is different from just being together.
I wonder why she's asking that.
I know, right?
Because I think she got engaged to Lisa.
Yeah. I think that there's just more of a what is the word I want to use for that? There's, I want to say more of a commitment, but maybe just you have more invested. You know what I mean? And you have more invested not just with the person, but you have more invested with the person's family and with their friends. And now it's like, oh, if I didn't like that friend before, like we're married and you're gonna have that friend forever. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like you put more time and effort into not only the person that you're with, but their life that surrounds them also. It's like their bubble. Like Mandy always calls it her bubble. She has her bubble of her close friends and her family that mean everything to her. Well, now I'm joining her bubble and she's joining my bubble and our bubbles are merging. So like now we're putting time and effort into getting to know each other's bubbles and caring for each other's bubbles, And I don't know that you have that whenever you're not necessarily, even if you're together a long time, but it's like once you get married, it's like, okay, now we're here and we're committed. That and like with gay marriage being so new too, I feel like people, whenever you're talking about your girlfriend, it means less. It may not mean less to you, it may mean everything to you, but it means less to other people whenever you're talking about her. Like, I'm like, oh, my girlfriend and I, blah, blah, and they're like, oh, but you're like, my wife and I are doing this, and then it's like there's more of a level of respect, like, oh, you guys are a serious committed couple because you're married, whereas before, even if you were still committed, even if you've been together for 12 years, you're still calling her your girlfriend or your partner, and I feel like people undermine that. Not that they should. It's totally wrong, but they do. So that's the difference for me.
Yeah.
I'm still a newlywed, so, take
For
that.
purposes of time, I know there's lots of questions we didn't get to, which always happens. Jen, do you want to pick one more question that you want to ask before I do the WLS questions?
No, it's okay.
No? Okay, how about this? How about one tip for newbies that...
There we go.
What is it? What'd you say?
For newbies. What's your one tip for newbies?
Exercise. Exercise as early as humanly possible, and keep exercising. Don't stop. Not just for your weight loss, but for your emotional well-being.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so now we do kind of like inside the actor studio, only it's inside the WLS Naked Truth studio.
Okay.
What's your favorite word?
Ooh, gosh. I want to say copious, but only because it's one of my best friend's favorite words, and so I always like to use it. I'm like, oh, really? There's a copious amount of food at this table right now.
So copious. What's your least favorite word?
Oh. Moist.
How many times have people said moist?
I know, it's funny.
Like the most popular words are moist and the F word.
Yeah.
Not as your least favorite word.
Or the C word.
One of my favorite words, that would be right up there on top.
Okay. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Confident people that know who they are at whatever level, and people that are really just genuinely happy, good people, givers, people that really, truly, genuinely want to do better in this world.
I'm getting turned on just thinking about those people.
I know, right? I know, right? I love those people. It makes me happy.
What turns you off?
Oh, arrogance. I hate arrogant people.
Yeah.
Such a terrible, it's horrible.
What's your favorite curse word to use against arrogant people? Fuck, yeah.
Yes.
That's an all-time favorite. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise? Birds in the summertime.
What sound or noise do you hate? You have a face that looks like...
I know. I'm like, it's maybe a time. My dog barking in the middle of the night at bunny rabbits.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would love to be a public motivational speaker.
Now, you did like a speakers bureau thing, right? After The Biggest Loser, I think you mentioned that at Obesity Help, and I want to talk to you about that like offline, but that was interesting. You would be great at that. You were, I mean, I have to tell you, having watched your videos and then seen you on some of the, well, maybe it was this show. She was on Naked Truth before too, right? You were on here before too. I don't know. I'm just like so impressed with you and how confident you are and what your message is to people. I mean, it's really powerful.
Aw, thank you.
So what profession would you not like to do?
Oh, gosh. Really anything to do with like customer service because I'm really bad. I'm like really bad customer service.
I'm not a fan of people.
No, I mean it's really terrible because I love people, but like don't call me on the phone. I just don't. I don't want to talk to you on the phone at all. Just don't ever do it.
Okay, last one. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You made it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pam, for doing
You guys. Thank you for having me.
It's a really awesome show.
Yeah. And with that, what do we have coming up the next week? Next 2 weeks on January 10th, we have Lauren Dayton with Gastric Tiger. And January 17th, we have Gracie, No One's Stopping Me But Me, with Elizabeth and Lindsay Fly. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.